This is King 5 Mornings.
Well, I love that, and let's take it a step further because we do want to turn our attention to the laws for the state of Washington.
Joining us now to help with all that is Seattle attorney Jennifer Cannon-Unione. Thank you so much for being with us this morning. You've been with us before talking about a variety of issues, but this is one that has really kind of become an issue. You know, if somebody finally gets up the courage to report something, most times what they do is they go to their HR department, right? But a lot of people don't know that actually there is a way to file a complaint with the state. How does the law work in Washington?
Absolutely, and you can. It's just crazy out there with all this news, and I'm really glad you guys are doing a story on it because I think also that people just don't know how to act in the workplace. There are two ways that you can file. You can either file a claim with the government or you can hire a lawyer to file a claim. And if you file a claim with the government here in the state of Washington, you can either file with the EEOC if you've got 15 or more employees, and the EEOC is the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. You can go on their website, they can show you how to do that, or you can file a claim with the Washington State Human Rights Commission, and that's with 8 or more employees. Really, really, really important to remember though, you have 300 days from the time the incident was alleged to have occurred before you can actually, you have that window of time that you can actually do it. Afterwards you can't, which is different from the statute of limitations for filing a suit in court, which would be 3 years. So if you hired an attorney and you were going to file a claim in court, you would have 3 years to do so.
And then there's still the morality part of it, like that we're seeing in the news, like, you know, Matt Lauer, we're talking years ago, with Charlie Rose years ago. So there's the whole other thing, like if you go to your HR department, it would be a little bit different, correct? You know what I mean? Yeah. A lot of different timelines, I'm saying.
That was going to be my question to you, is that, you know, when you're saying you can go to the state, it has to be more than one employee. An individual can't necessarily go to the state and file a claim?
No, an individual. So if your employee, your employer has more than 15 employees, you can go, and they will take the claim seriously. They will investigate, they will interview witnesses, they will gather evidence, and they will make a decision. They can mediate the case for you. They can even file suit on your behalf.
Okay, so what happens though, like if you make a complaint to the state and let's say it turns out that they didn't, I don't know, they investigated and they didn't find any wrongdoing, are you protected in your workplace then, or could you be punished for that?
Well, that's a really interesting question. So you're supposed to be protected in your workplace, but what's important to remember is the conclusion would not necessarily, let's say they say we don't find anything here, and you decide later on you want to file a civil suit, which is going to be a totally different setting. Sure. That conclusion would not be admissible. But it's really important to remember that you can request, anybody could request through a Public Records Act, all the information that was obtained by the EEOC during this whole investigation. So it would be essentially a matter of public record, and people would be able to get that information.
That's fascinating.
Let's move back from maybe a civil trial to criminal. Are there actual criminal charges that can be filed, and kind of explain those a little bit? I know that they did in that story we just watched, but here in Washington. Yeah,
and absolutely. There are definitely criminal charges that can stem from the conduct that we're hearing about. So for example, there's so much, right? There's so many allegations out there. I mean, it's getting to the point where I'm afraid to look at my phone and the alerts that are coming, because I think, oh no, is it this person? But you know, it's important for us all to have this conversation of what's appropriate, what's not appropriate. As far as the criminal, let's take groping, for example. Lots of allegations about that. Well, groping could be indecent liberties, which is a felony, or it could be assault with sexual motivation. You heard just on Friday, Snohomish County Prosecutor Mark Rowe chose not to file charges against King County Sheriff Urquhart for allegations of groping. Part of the reason why he didn't was because the statute of limitations has run on that. And so a lot of the allegations we're hearing out in the media and stuff, a lot of the statute of limitations has run. Particularly in that case, the statute of limitations had run for the sexual assault or the assault with sexual motivation. So he may have felt like there was enough there, but he can't file charges at this point.
Sure, sure.
So.
When you think about that, you know, I think we have to wrap things up, but could you quickly tell us, you know, why things like statute of limitations exist in law?
Well, it's important because we need to know that there's a limit on when these claims can be brought. And so both in civil and in criminal, there are going to be limitations on the types of claims that can be brought.
Wonderful.
So, yeah.
Jennifer, thank you so much. It's always so enlightening to talk to you.
Great to
We
be
need to
here.
have you here more.
We do, really. And I hope that if anyone's watching and they've listened to your words, that will prompt them to do something if they need to. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll be right back.